How's it going, YouTube? This is the Heroes Advisor. Today, we're doing a top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And this is all my opinion, so tell me your favorites down below. Alright, number 10, we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. Really, really great action. That's the first thing I can probably say about this. The Russo brothers really knew how to film hand-to-hand action between Steve and Bucky. And this movie really explores Steve being in this time zone that he's completely unfamiliar with, where he has to take notes of all the pop culture and music he has to catch up on, and dealing with spies and espionage and the entire plotline with S.H.I.E.L.D. falling, I think was really, really good. I like this movie a lot, not as much as other people, but it took me a while to warm up to it because the pacing was felt slow to me. That's not an objective criticism, that's just my opinion. Number 9, we have Iron Man 2. I have a lot of history with this movie. It was the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie we got on Blu-ray or DVD rather. It's not made particularly well. There's two villains and they're both kind of half-baked. I like Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer and then Mickey Rourke as Whiplash. There's very minimal action. Again, a lot of subplots that take up a lot of the runtime. A lot of good character moments, but again, a lot of subplots with Tony trying to live up to his dad's legacy and create new elements so he doesn't die, and then Whiplash creating drones, and Justin Hammer trying to trust Whiplash. Anyway, a lot going on in this movie. Third act, I really liked it. Again, a lot of people don't really like this movie. I do. Number 8, I have Captain America, the First Avenger. Again, just like the Winter Soldier, First Avenger has a really compelling setting, something the MCU's never seen before, is the 1940s and World War II era. The relationship between Steve and Peggy Carter, of course, is really good. I just love a good origin story, and Chris Evans has this way of portraying the star-spangled man with a plan in a very, very heroic. That's the basis of the character is straight heroism. Also, the Red Skull is a fine villain. It was just kind of a fun movie. It had good action, had a really good mix between slower character moments and action, and the train scene, Bucky falls off. Yeah, I like that train scene, just like Spider-Man 2. Train scenes are always a win. Alright, number 7, we have Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This was before I went to the theater every time a new Marvel movie came out. I went to my friend's college, and we saw it together. It was after it had already come out. I didn't really know these characters. I didn't see the first Guardians, and I said, okay, sure, we'll watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, whatever this movie is, and whoever these characters are. I knew Chris Pratt. But I saw the movie, and this was when I realized that every Marvel movie that came out, I would probably like it. Not every movie would be objectively amazing, but I knew I would like it. So, and not to perhaps sleep on the MCU, the greater MCU. So yeah, this movie very colorful, explores the Guardians directly after the events of Guardians 1. The music is phenomenal. I like the villain a lot. It's a bit of a long movie. It can drag at some points, but the humor is definitely there. I love the voice actors and, of course, the actors. There is a CGI raccoon, so there is a voice actor. That would be Bradley Cooper. Really fun. It's a fun movie. One thing I do want to address is that dramatic moments can sometimes be played off as satire, and that's something a lot of Marvel movies do these days, and I really wish they wouldn't do that. Alright, number 6, we have Spiderman Homecoming, one of the most rewatchable films in the entire MCU. I really like it, of course. It's the first Spidey outing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's really fun to see a new character take on the mask, take on the role of Spider-Man. Everyone knows I love Spider-Man. I really love this character. It's just a really fun movie. It shows these characters as real high schoolers, and then it's a superhero movie second, and a high schooler movie first. So there's a lot of awkwardness, a lot of teenage antics. Really, really fun movie. I like Vulture a lot. Michael Keaton plays that character really, really well. All right, top 5. Number 5, Iron Man. I just did a review on it. I really, really like this film. I think there's not enough action. It's really the only criticism. The CGI holds up 11 years later. I don't know how they did it. And Jon Favreau really took a risk directing this film and starting at Marvel Studios and taking on Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Really, really fun film. If you haven't watched it, it's 11 years old. Give it a watch. It's like 2 hours long. Almost all these movies are about 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. Number 4, we got Captain America Civil War. Basically, the airport scene, I really, really like it. The 6-on-6 fight is really great. Baron Zemo, the ultimate villain, isn't perfect, but yeah, I had a few issues with him. But of course, it's a Marvel movie. Everyone brings their A game. Really, really great. And the dispute between all the Avengers and picking a side on whether or not the government should control superheroes, I think is really good. They don't want to kill each other in the airport scene. Tony just wants to stop Steve from carrying out his plans, and I think The relationships are some of the best shown off in this movie. Number 3, we have the first Avengers. This is the first movie that my dad ever brought home just out of nowhere, and it was a really pivotal moment of my childhood. And I've watched this movie about 15 times in the last 7 years. It came out in 2012. Give it a watch. It's really, really great. It's the first time you see all these I think it's the first superhero team-up movie ever made. I think, I might be wrong on that, but it's just fun to see all these characters interact for the first time. And a lot of the interactions are show don't tell. It's not just characters saying, I don't like you. They're saying, listen, I don't think you have anything good to bring to this team. And then in the end, they kind of prove each other wrong, and they learn how to work together as a team. They know their roles. And that third act goes on for quite a while, but with Loki as the villain and the battle taking place in Manhattan, it's a really, really good way to end that film and further the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right, number 2, I have Avengers Endgame. What can I say about this film? It just came out. It's kind of fresh in my mind. I'm waiting for the Blu-ray to come out next month. I'm really, really excited to go get that. Yeah, really somber film, really funny film. It's long, 3 hours long. I failed to mention that in my previous take. Yeah, it's 3 hours long, so it can drag a little bit, but the character moment, there's a lot of characters talking and consoling each other after the events of Infinity War. If you haven't seen both these movies, seriously, go watch Infinity War and then Endgame. It's really a 5 hour or 5.5 hour epic. 2.5 hours for Infinity War and 3 hours for Endgame. It's all kind of one big story. So I consider them almost one movie. But that third act in Endgame, a lot of big fan service, and some people think that's bad, but I love fan service. It's almost why we go to these films. We want to see these characters interact with each other and make jokes about their abilities and how ridiculous everything is. Number 1, Avengers Infinity War. I was basically in college at the time when I went to see this film with a bunch of nerds in a crowded theater. By the end of it, we were all jumping up and down and screaming at the screen and crying, and it was the best experience I've ever had in a theater. So much action. The Russo brothers knew how to balance all the screen time with all these characters. I don't know how they knew how to do it. They did Captain America Winter Soldier, then Civil War, and now Infinity War and then Endgame. But Infinity War was only the third foray into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and somehow they gave almost the equal amount of screen time for every character. And there's over 20 characters they had to balance. I don't know how they did it. Moments like Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, and Peter all meeting for the first time, and then running into the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Peter Quill not having come back to Earth after about 30 years, and he's talking about all the things that he remembers from the 80s, or 70s, I think it was. Yeah, really, really funny character moments. Can we talk about Thanos for a second? The best Marvel villain ever created. He steals the show. He's a very sympathetic villain. It's a movie about the villain. It's a movie about Thanos, and you see, I think he probably got the most screen time, and you can almost feel for him. You're almost rooting for him to wipe out half the population of not just Earth, but the entire universe. You can see why he thinks he's right, and he's so committed to his goal, his mission, and you almost want to see him carry it out. But the action scenes with him are enormous, and Josh Brolin's motion capture and voice, for Thanos is awesome. So that is my top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm just going to say MCU from now on. I hope you know what MCU means. As always, YouTube, thank you so much for your support. Friends, family, everyone. I'm going to try to keep these a little shorter. My Iron Man review is about 20 minutes long, and it takes like 7 hours for YouTube to upload it on my little Dell laptop. So again, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.